What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswaves. When you know it, yesterday I said, hey, wouldn't it be great if, Final Fantasy VII, the demo just dropped, and then hours later, technically after recording before the show went live, it dropped overnight. So we'll talk a little bit about that, including tons of details around previews, but I picked up a few little things to kind of carry over going into its release next month. Of course, if it was on track for its original release date, we would be playing it today. Just gotta wait a little bit longer, though, into April. Also, the Switch turns 3 today. It's crazy to think it's been that long already, but yeah, 3 years of the Switch. We're gonna talk a little bit about that as well today and more. As always, guys, if you enjoy these videos, hit that like button, helps out a ton. And if you're brand new here, hit that red subscribe button down below as we push towards 400,000 subscribers. And we're gonna start today with an update for the Switch. There was a system update 9.2.0, and get ready for this one. Overall system stability. Yeah, like your Switch, a little more stable when you set it up on the kickstand. Actually, probably not. Don't test that. But yeah, just more system stability going forward, just general maintenance, it seems. Stuff you probably won't notice. However, there seem to have been some changes with the overall kernel and the firmware, as some have actually pointed this out on Twitter, like Michael Sayers. So people are already kind of digging into what could have changed that maybe we did not see. Keep in mind, sometimes you see security measures kind of moved around or different things that aren't really for us, but could give us some insight into where Nintendo is going, maybe with some plans for the Switch. We'll keep an eye on that, but for now, just know general system maintenance, stability, nothing really that amazing. Also, if you've been someone trying to get a hold of those Super Nintendo controllers for your Switch, they seem to be back in stock now as of the recording here, but they seem to come in and out of stock constantly, but I figure might as well throw it in here for anyone still looking for it. And the controller itself, I think, is still really, really good. It's just hard to get a hold of. $30 for one. You don't have to buy it in a pair like on the Nintendo controllers where you had to buy 2 of them, and it also doesn't slide into the side of the Switch. That was kind of ridiculous, but it's also pretty funny to look at on the Switch with both of those on either side. Good pickup, though, and if you can get it at $30, it's not bad. I have seen some people scalp them on like eBay resellers, mark them up as well. So hopefully they stay in stock a bit now, but we've already seen shortages for the Switch and even games like Ring Fit. So I'm hoping that they at least have this part figured out and it's not limited quantities that are sold out by the time you see this. But if you're still looking for one, head on over to the Nintendo store, log in, and see if they have them available for you. Oh, and do you remember how we did the Switch Lite shell replacement where we changed the shell out for a transparent purple, and then we also had a transparent kind of black-gray look? I thought, or at least I hope, that Nintendo would take a cue from what everyone wants right now, or a lot of people are pointing towards, which is to kind of go back to those transparent shells that they had with the Nintendo 64. Some of that might be nostalgia, but I do think, like that smoked gray, look pretty cool, right? The purple needs a little bit of help with that bezel, but I mean, if there was a Switch Lite like that with a complete bezel that matched and all of that without having to put a screen protector on, it'd be pretty awesome. So imagine my surprise when the company that comes out with even a controller that takes advantage of kind of a transparent purple look is Microsoft. Yeah. Okay, sure, why not? First, you're bringing over Phantasy Star Online 2. Now you're doing transparent purple controllers. All right, Microsoft, let's relax a little bit. But here's the controller I'm talking about. This is actually coming out March 17th. It is their Xbox wireless controller, the Phantom Magenta Special Edition at $69.99. It does say that it's going to work with the Series X, I believe, of course, PC and anything else. However, Microsoft has already told us that their current accessories will work with the Series X. It just might not have any of the possibly extra features that the new controller could have with the Series X, but it still looked like a pretty standard Xbox controller. It's more Sony that's kind of looking at the controller and trying to do other things to it, but pretty cool controller here. $70, special edition magenta. It's going to be for people who really want that purple look. And yeah, I'll probably pre-order it. And guys, with some of the quick news out of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff. Let's start with the Switch right away. 3rd year on the market. It doesn't even feel like it, right? Like 2017, March 3rd, 2017 is when this thing released. That also means that Breath of the Wild is officially 3 years old now, and the system's already sold over 50 million units. It's impressive stuff, especially coming off of what the Wii U did, which was definitely not 50 million units. In fact, at this point, a lot of the Wii U's library has moved over to the Switch, and it's only been 3 years. But now we kind of look towards the future, of course, with the Switch, and it's built up an install base, and if we're halfway through, we think the Switch is going to last at least 6 years, right? I mean, somehow the 3DS is still holding on somehow, kind of. Nintendo's not really making anything for it, but it's still being sold in stores as just like the cheap system to buy at $80 for the regular 2DS with Mario Kart attached. But we do think the Switch is going to last 6 years, which gives us an indication we're halfway through. What's the back half going to be like? And since today is the third year anniversary, kind of expect Nintendo to do something with it, right? And this is something else that'll probably be outdated by the time you're seeing this, especially if Nintendo does take advantage of that and announces maybe a game. Maybe they just put something out that's like happy birthday to the Switch. It's now turned 3 years old, almost able to drive, right? No, it's going to be interesting to see if Nintendo does anything with it. I would like to think that a Direct is soon, because everyone's really itching for one, and this could be a good day to announce that one is coming in the future. Not that one's like today, but hey, maybe they announce that one is for Thursday. That's very possible. Or maybe they wait till next week for that. I think one will come before Animal Crossing, so don't get too crazy about it. We're getting close, I think, at least. But the Switch has actually done some really amazing things in its first 3 years. It's forged some relationships with third parties that I didn't even know if would ever happen. I mean, think about it. CD Projekt Red showed up and dropped a game on there. That was a big deal because that's the first time they've ever done that with Nintendo. And while EA hasn't really shown up in force, I think they will start to come around soon. Maybe not with their sports games, but some of their other stuff they could drop on there. They had some of their EA indies that showed up, right? And it was more or less the indie companies say for that, but they still let them do it. However, we've also seen Bethesda really push hard for the Switch as well. I think it's just the overall concept of the system that has these publishers and developers so interested in it, right? It's the merging of the handheld and the home console market, something that we've never really seen. The Vita tried it, didn't quite get to what the Switch is now. It's just an impressive system for what it tries to do. And on top of all of that, the Switch has also given NVIDIA's Tegra chip a reason to exist and a place to be that's not a self-driving car, because for a while, that's where it was trending. It was gonna be put in self-driving cars and it was being worked mostly away from gaming. Now NVIDIA has a reason to really push forward with low-power chips like the Tegra and beef them up and make them better, which is great for any of us gamers who like the idea of a hybrid or a portable system where you can play these kind of games that normally we thought were impossible. But let me know what your favorite memories so far for the Switch are after 3 years of being on the market and for sale, and some of the big first-party games that have released. We even got our first real mainline Pokemon game, and while I'm not like super high on it or extremely fond of the game overall, I still recognize how big of a deal that is just in the history of video games. So the Switch has forged a path, done a ton of really cool firsts for Nintendo, and now I'm looking forward to the back half of the system's life, because that's usually when you start seeing some really cool stuff come from third parties and even the first party Nintendo studios. Metroid Prime 4 is still out there somewhere, along with Bayonetta and Breath of the Wild 2, so at least we have an idea of some stuff coming, but I think Nintendo is going to be pulling out all the stops going forward, especially as that install base has grown, since every game they seem to put out that is at least high quality sells pretty well. Next up, let's talk about Final Fantasy VII Remake and the demo that did drop. I put out a video. If you have not seen it, go check it out if you want to see my thoughts on the demo. I'm really excited for this game. Can't wait till next month. I'm still kind of bummed out that it's not out today, especially after playing that demo, because it's very, very good. So looking forward to that. But we did have some interesting information come out from previews. One of the big ones I saw circulating is that Red 13 is not going to be playable in this first episode. We'll say episode. They don't even really point out. Like, I thought they were gonna do Final Fantasy VII Remake and then like some kind of subtitle or some subheading, I should say, and then the second one and the third one, maybe fourth one will have subheadings. It just says Final Fantasy VII Remake on the front. I don't know, Final Fantasy 7 Remake 2, but for this first installment, Red 13 will not be playable, and according to Square and their developers, a lot of that had to do with the fact that Red 13 will be coming in towards the end of this first installment, apparently so late that they won't have a lot of time to develop his character or do anything else with him necessarily, so they were going to be pushing Red 13's playable state off to, I guess, the second game, and that frustrated some people, but I mean, we don't really know when the game's going to end, this first installment. Red 13 could show up like right at the end, like the last 2 hours or something. And then it's, in my mind, it is like, well, what was the point in him being playable? And like, you're not going to really develop him. You're not going to level him up. You're not going to do much with him. So I do get that, why they'd say, okay, let's wait till let's wait till the second game for that. At least we'll get to see him. We've seen him in screenshots and marketing and all of this stuff, and even some of the leaked images. So we'll have to look forward to that second game. Also, the game has gone gold, as all of us would have hoped. There is seemingly, I would say most likely, because we've seen some manufacturing issues and some delays for games, has gone gold. It's basically ready to go, and we just have to wait till April. Shouldn't be any other delays. One thing that did bum me out a little bit is that the demo progress is not carrying over, and when you finish the demo, you do kind of realize that was like just basically one shot. Okay, anything you did here isn't going to follow over with you, and IGN was able to confirm that along with Square. Yeah, I have liked a lot of these demos that come out that allow you to do that, with Dragon Quest 11S being one of the best examples of that. They dropped a 10-hour demo. Oh, and it also carries over to the game. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. This was just a demo that they seem to be kind of showing off at different events and kind of moving around with packs. I think that might have been a slightly older demo though, but they were basically just taking it around, showing it off, and they dropped it here with no connection to the full game that's going to come out. But we'll at least have an idea of how the battle system works, and that is, it's going to take some getting used to if you have not played the demo. So I recommend download the demo, right? Get used to it so you'll be ready to go next month when the full game drops. And I am really excited. So yes, Final Fantasy 7 demo, go check it out. Exciting stuff. Only a month, then we gotta wait, but I'm ready now to play it. Next up, let's talk about Kojima's big announcement. Do you remember how yesterday we had talked about how Hideo Kojima was doing some sort of, well, he was doing a tease, it seemed. Took a picture, it said at the bottom, like, oh, next week, and then they're using the pyramid pencil. People got really excited. Oh, is there some kind of Silent Hills announcement? Well, it doesn't look like it. Shocker, right? It turned out to be what I was thinking it would be, which had to do with Death Stranding. I thought it would either be the PC announcement for its release date or some kind of DLC. The week's not necessarily over, so I guess something else could happen, but it looks like we did get our PC release date. You can see this here. 505 Games tweeted this out, explaining that Kojima Productions' Death Stranding launches on Steam and Epic Game Store June 2nd, 2020. Great to see that it's also on Steam for everyone who gets frustrated at those Epic Games deals where it's only on Epic Games for like a year. The PC edition features photo mode, high frame rate, ultra-wide monitor support, and content from Valve's Half-Life. That is interesting. Half-Life is having a bit of a crossover with Death Stranding. All right, sure, okay, why not? That is actually a cool idea from Steam and Valve to do that with more of these games. Sure, Epic Games might pull in like a year of exclusivity, but for the ones that are not exclusive to Epic Games for a time period, for Steam and Valve to come in and say, oh, let's cross over with some of our IPs, or that's fun. I don't know, that's neat. I know Half-Life Alyx is also around the corner, and they're probably trying to put Half-Life multiple places that it normally wouldn't be, just to get people hyped for that game, but it's still a great idea for Valve to do that. And high frame rate and ultra wide monitor support, and I'm sure ridiculous looking visuals. This game is going to look like just insanity on a PC. And I'm at least excited to see some of the benchmarks, how video cards take to the engine, of course, that's being moved over, the Decima engine, and just overall how it runs on PC. We haven't seen this engine on a PC necessarily for a consumer, so I'm sure we'll get all kinds of cool benchmarks and everything else. And it's already a good looking game on the PS4 Pro. It's going to look even crazier on something like an RTX 2080 Ti, and maybe ray tracing gets added in at some point. A lot of possibilities there, but look out June 2nd if you've been waiting for Death Stranding to hit the PC. And in our last bit of news, let's actually go back to Labo and the Toy-Con garage. It's not really what you think though. Remember, we can go in, we can do basic designs for algorithms. They're more visual, where you make a box. Okay, what does this box over here do? If then, we'll link them together, and that's how you come up with an idea of operation with Labo. Well, we've talked about Dreams, where you use Dreams to create games, and we've seen all kinds of stuff so far, but what if you could use the Toy-Con Garage to make a game? Someone did that. Check this out. This is crazy, by the way. We've seen some cool creations in the Toy-Con Garage, but this is a person on Twitter, you can see this here, by the name of Green Squid, creating a shrine from Breath of the Wild. It doesn't look like Breath of the Wild, obviously. They're limited what's in the Toy-Con Garage. It's not really supposed to be able to do this, or it was never advertised to do this, but they're just running around in a shrine that they created in Labo. That is mind-blowing. How crazy is that? And it does make me wonder if you can do other games in, I guess you can, it just won't be able to look closer like how Dream still looks a little off. I've talked about that, but this obviously looks nothing like Breath of the Wild necessarily. So I wonder how far or how robust this Toy-Con engine actually is with the Toy-Con Garage. It's something I didn't think was possible, but there it is. And we'll finish up with the comment of the day, as you're seeing here. This one is from NJL82 saying, I always thought the NES design was to avoid looking like Atari top-loader consoles, which were blamed for the US games market crash. I guess their reason makes sense, but it's not what I expected. I was almost positive the NES looked the way it did was so it didn't look like a toy, and it didn't look, like you're saying, related to the Atari, which did hurt video games pretty badly. The great video game crash, where they're bearing they're bearing ET cartridges, and Atari consoles were just going unsold no matter how much they marked them down at retail, and it was just viewed as junk, basically. So when Nintendo comes in, I thought the idea was that they were going to change it so it looks more like a VCR, more futuristic, more sleek, and you kind of look at it now and you're like, that doesn't really look sleek by today's standards, but this was in 1985, and it did at the time. There's a very good documentary for Icons on G4. You can look that up on YouTube. Very, very well done piece on the NES. I completely recommend watching it, but I'm almost positive in there they had talked, I think it was Howard Lincoln, talked about how they wanted to change the look so it didn't come off as a game console because no one was buying game consoles in the US at the time. And guys, it's gonna do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, really helps out. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about today, whether it is the Final Fantasy VII demo, if you have played it, what do you think about it? And then the Nintendo Switch, now 3 years old. Let me know about some of your memories for the first 3 years and where you hope Nintendo goes over the next 3, even a big release that you're hoping for, like me with Metroid Prime 4. Cross my fingers that it is awesome and looks great and plays great. Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.